In the last class, we had been discussing about entity framework, and we saw what are the ways in which you can add a database into a class file. Okay, so we had done that, and I think we have performed two operations, retrieval and insert. So you can see the code which is written here, which we created using product DB entities, and I retrieved the result using a language integrated query, and then I converted that result to a list, and I bound that data to the grid view as data source. Okay, and I got the answer. And then we moved on to inserting a record. While inserting a record, we followed the logic of one row in a table is equal to one instance of a class. So I created an instance of a class called TBL product singular. Okay, and then I assigned some values or attributes to that particular object. And then I added that object to my TBL products. And then finally, we have saved the changes. So if these code executed successfully, then one record should be inserted into the database. Okay, that's what we have done in the last class. Now today we will continue with that, and I'll finish the update, which has 3 parts, and I'll leave the delete up to you. So let me just quickly go to the Solution Explorer. Let's add another ASPX file. So let me just click on add, and let's choose web form with the master page. Let me name it as update. Okay, so here I'm going to use the same design as insert except for one drop down list. I hope by now you're familiar with the way in which this program works. Okay, this is one way of writing the code, guys. There are different ways. I'll take that up when time permits. Okay, so first let's finish the concept part. So one I need to do here is to retrieve. Okay, so let me go to the design first. Let me change the design as I want, and then we'll come back to the code. So first let me choose insert.aspx and go to the code. From there we will pick up the design and we'll put it in update and we'll modify it. So let me go to insert.aspx. Let me go to its source, that's better. And I'll take from the table till / table from here, and I'll put it here in this ASPX inside the content. Okay, so now let me go back to the design. I'll have a table ready which has almost all details which I require except for one more column. So one more row. Let me just add insert a row above, and there what we will do is we will drag and drop a drop down list. Okay, and I'll say choose a product. Okay, so we'll give it as choose the product, and let there be a drop down list. So let me go and change the property. First thing, I'm going to change that property name from ID from DDL products drop down list, which holds the product name, as well as I'll change the CSS class to form-control. Okay, so now I have done my work here. This is done. Let me go back and let me change this add product to something else. So let me just go to the button title. I'll name it as BTN update, and let that be success itself. Let me say update a product. Okay, so update product, and also I'll remove that event which was created there in that file. I want to create a different file here. Okay, so that's it. So my design is ready for update also. Let me just move forward. So what is the first step? Okay, the first step in this particular program is as soon as the page loads, I want all the products to be retrieved and mapped to this particular drop down list. So I need not double click anywhere here. I need to go to this code. So I need to right click and say view code, or I can just press F7 on my keyboard. I can take you to the C# file of that same ASPX file. So as soon as the page loads, what do you want me to do? Okay, so please remember how we had written the previous code also. Same logic applies, only the code will be different. So I'm going to write if. Okay, I hope by now you know what it means. Not is post back. If it is not the first time this page is, or if it is the first time the page is loaded, if it is not the reload, okay, or a post back triggered by the system, then you're supposed to do this, which means only the very first time execute this block of code. What do you want me to do here? I wanted to retrieve everything, all from, actually not all, I only require the ID and the name of the product to be retrieved and put on the drop down list. Okay, so how do I do that? Let me just start with the connection. So let me start with using, let me call that product DB entities, which is like acting like the database context for me. Okay, is equal to new product DB entities. And inside that, we'll be writing our code. Okay, so what do we want here? In this particular place, what I want is I would like to retrieve everything. So it's like a basic query what we have done in the previous program. So I'm going to say var result. Okay, I do not know what data type, I don't care about it. Let me just put as var result, and then what should I write the query as? Okay, please note the query is going to be like language integrated query. So from some name, okay, any range variable you want in db.tbl products. Please note from this particular data source. What do you want me to select? Okay, if I say select data, basically it means select star from TBL products. But I don't want everything. I only want two records. Okay, number one, I want the product ID. Number two, I want the name of the product. Only these two data are required. Okay, but I can't write like this. Like for example, if I put data dot, by now your system should know what you're retrieving, because this is like C sharp, right? So it automatically knows what is there in the data source. Okay, so whatever is there in the data source is now stored in data, which means this is the range variable now. Now it is already aware. So when I press data dot, you can specifically choose one record. Say for example, product ID. But the problem is you cannot put comma and continue, because it only retrieves one record or one set of record. Okay, so here if I just write like this, it will only retrieve all the IDs. In other words, select product ID from TBL products. It will retrieve all IDs, but I don't want that. Okay, I want to also data. Please note I am not able to type anything there after that because it is not expected. So how do I fix this? I've already discussed that in the previous class when I did language integrated query. But anyway, I'm going to write that new, and then I'll put this entire thing inside flower bracket. Okay, now if I press comma data, I get the option dot product name. Please note, what does this query symbolize? This query symbolizes in SQL select prod ID comma prod name from TBL products. Okay, that's all. This is the query, which means what will this query return? This query will return all product IDs and product names from that particular table. No condition, no where clause is put. Okay, it retrieves everything. Now all those things are retrieved. Where should I put it? Okay, call the drop down list dot data source is equal to result. Okay, this will not work, guys, because I have already explained that here in this case. I cannot directly assign the result. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to convert it, because I'm using ASP.NET. I'm supposed to convert it to a list in order to map it, because I'm talking to entity framework here, not language integrated query. Okay, with that we cannot stop. We should forward and say what is the data value field as well as the text field. In other words, what text would you like to show to the user? I want to show prod underscore name. That's the column name, guys. Please don't forget that. This is the name which is coming. So prod name is the one which I want. Next is DDL products dot data value field is equal to prod underscore ID. So that is the ID. All right. So these two, the value what you am bothered about is ID. The text what the user will see is the name of the product. Okay. And then also I am going to say data bind. Okay, so that the data is persistent when it comes back to the system. Okay, finally I also want to do dot items dot insert, okay, at a particular location 0. Okay, what I want you to add there is a dummy value called select. Done. Okay, let's run this program and check if it works, then we will proceed. By the time you can just check the code here. All right, so just see whether you can follow this code. If not is post back. If it is the very first time this page is running, and if it is not a reload, then what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to take, okay, the database, and then using that DB object. Please note this DB object will not be available after this line 26. Okay, so that's why we are using that structure called using, and then we put the resource here, and this resource will be automatically closed when you come out of that using block. Okay, so now this is my query, and I said the data source is whatever comes out of this, which is converted to a list. Okay, so let's check if it has loaded. Okay, and in the meantime, you can also see that the code is not different, except that where the data comes from is changing, but the way in which ASP.NET works is not changed much. These lines of code, what you see after that data source, is same in all the three technologies what we have discussed. Okay, please do remember that. Now let's check whether this code works. Okay, in case this code works, what's the next step? As soon as you choose that drop down list, I would like something to happen. Okay, I've used this way of explaining code. The reason is because I need to apply Ajax in the next unit. Okay, also we need to see how to manipulate each and every control using your existing controls. Okay, so when you do a project, this should be very handy for you. Also, in another class, I'll be taking only about the grid view. Okay, so let's see right now what is the issue which is faced. We'll wait for some more time. It is taking too much time. Let me. Okay. All right. So I think there is an issue. Let's just check what it is. Okay. So I guess now I think I had only one record, so that record is retrieved. But when I choose it, nothing, no refresh, nothing happens. That's because we have not done the second part of our code. Okay, the first part is working. I have a dummy value, also one data from the database. That's ready. Let me go back. Okay, so now let me just go to the second part. What is the second part? As soon as the drop down list has been manipulated with data, okay, the next thing is as soon as you choose the drop down list, I want something to happen. So let me go to the design. Let me choose that drop down list. Okay, or let's just double click on that drop down list. All right, please note, I've skipped one step and I've gone forward. I hope you guys know what that step is. Okay, even whatever I write here will not, that drop down will never react because you have told the drop down not to listen. Okay, by default drop downs are of two size, one static ones. Okay, which means there will be data, you have to choose that data, that's it. But then I guess best example is if you see that there are websites when you register, you choose the country. Okay, so country will be a big drop down list which has a lot of countries. You choose one of those countries, the next drop down will get populated based on that drop down's selection, right? So the country drop down is dynamically coming. As soon as you choose that, the state is getting populated. All right, so now when you go and change the state, nothing will happen. In case there is district, then it will go on. But just imagine that they have asked you the country and choose the country and they choose the state. Okay, so first thing you choose our country. The moment you choose a country, the next drop down is getting reflected. But if you choose any state in that particular next drop down, no reaction. Okay, because that is not going to be reacting to anything. Only thing reaction is there in the first drop down. Second drop down is static. The previous drop down would be dynamic. I hope you follow the way in which they react, not the data. Data can be dynamic in both the drop downs, but how they react, okay, when you change them. So when the selected value of the drop down changes, whether they are reacting or not is a big question mark. Okay, so how do I make sure that the drop down reacts? In typical way of development, you should make sure that the listener has been attached to, or a JavaScript listener has been added to that particular DOM element. But when it comes to .NET, it's very simple, which we have already discussed. Okay, you just choose that one of the options, or you can just go to properties of the drop down and find one thing called auto post back. Okay, please note auto post back will by default always be false. All right, because by default a drop down would be static. You will have to make it dynamic. The moment I make it true, okay, you can see it automatically post back to the server after the selection is changed. That's what we call it as auto post back. Okay, so that's why we are doing it. Now when I change anything, my page will be submitting the data to the server every time I change the value of this particular drop down. Okay, with that in mind, let me write the code. So when you change the drop down, what do you want me to do? I want you to find out which product you have chosen. How do I do that? First, let me create a global variable. I guess by now you know why I'm writing it as static int prod id. Okay, I'm gonna just initialize it. I'm not assign it. I'm going to assign it every time you choose the drop down list. So I'm going to say prod id is equal to int dot parse whatever the user has chosen from that drop down list. So ddl products dot selected value. Okay, please remember what was the value? Prod id. So I'll get that selected value and I put it here in prod id. So by now, as soon as you choose the drop down list here, I would have this globally available so that you can manipulate and you can retrieve details of that particular product and then update it of this particular product. Okay, so once I've got the id, what is my next step? Retrieve all details about that particular product. Okay, so how do I do that? So let me just start with var. Okay, but this time instead of putting var, let me please note I've used var everywhere possible. The reason is because what data returns, you can find out what data will be returned. It's a queryable result. Okay, so we do not know till we run what we'll be getting here. But in this case, I'm very sure that only one object I'm looking for. Okay, in database terms, I'm looking for one row. If I'm looking for one row in the database, what am I looking in programming? In programming, I'm looking at one object. I hope you follow. If you want to add a new row to the database or table, you need to create a new instance of a class. Okay, so what is an instance of a class? Object. So all I'm looking for here is an object of the table, which is TBL product. Okay, I'm looking for an object of TBL product. Okay, but let's not write it here because I need the database also. So I'm going to write using. Okay, I'm going to write product DB entities. Let me name it as DB is equal to new product DB entities. And inside this, what we are going to do is I'm going to create an object of TBL product. Please note again, it is singular. Okay, let me just name it as product is equal to. Which product have you chosen? I want you to fetch that product and put all the details of that product in this object called product, because I'm not creating a new one. Please understand this. I am not creating a new object of product. So I need not write new. Rather, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fetch an already existing object from the database into C#. How do I do that? Let me write the query. From data in db.tbl products. Okay, here it is not just selecting, there is a condition. So where data dot prod underscore id is equal to, please note double equal to because it is C#. Okay, is equal to whatever the user has chosen as prod id here. Please note the condition from something range variable in db.tbl products where data.prod id, okay, is equal to whatever the user has chosen from the drop down list. Select what? Select everything. Select data. Okay, I hope by now you know what is that error and why is it coming there. Okay, that error is because in SQL, you know that if I put where ID is equal to so and so, I am guaranteed to get only one record. But when it comes to C#, since that concept is not applicable, okay, you cannot say only one record will come, but you are trying to store into one object. With this syntax means it is one object. But what if I put it as var, then it is fine, the error is gone. Because var can store anything, not one object. It can store n number of objects, then you have to iterate through it. Instead of that, if I put it as TBL product, then I have to do something to make sure that this error goes off. Okay, how do I make sure that the error goes off? Since there is no concept of unique or primary data, primary object or primary key and unique object here in C#, all I'm going to do is from this list, if this right now, let's think like this. Okay, this is not a technical definition, guys. This is just for your understanding. Just look at this. Imagine this error. What is this error about? This error is telling that what if, okay, please note the system is telling what if from this query I get more than one record. Okay, please note the error is technical error saying it is not possible to convert a queryable interface extension into a specific TBL product. Okay, cannot implicitly convert type I queryable to just a product. Okay, an explicit conversion exists. Are you missing a cast? This is the technical way. But let's put it in simple terms and understand from the system's point of view. System says, what if this query returns more than one object and I am trying to store it in one object? Okay, so what should I do? If at all I know that I'm very sure that I'll not get more than one object here, but imagine, okay, a scenario where I get more than one object. What am I supposed to do? Okay, so for that, to avoid confusion and to narrow it down, what we are saying is from this record, this complete record, get me the first object. Okay, there is a method for that. That's what I did in the last class. So I'm going to choose this entire code and say get me the first object. Then that error is gone. Okay, will this work for me? Yes, of course. Why? Because as an SQL developer, you know this query will return only one, 0 or 1 record. Okay, so when I say get me the first record, it is the only record available in this query because I'm very sure about it. All right, so I'm saying get me the first record, which means whatever this query returns, get me the first one. I know for sure this query will return only one, so the first record is the one object. So my work here is done. What's my next step? I just need to assign whatever is there in this particular object, that data, to my text boxes. So let's do that. So let me start with txt product name dot text is equal to, call that object called product. Okay, and then say product dot what do you want? Product name. So I'll just say prod underscore name. Done. Second one is txt price, I guess. Price dot text is equal to, okay, product dot price prod price. Okay, please note I'm trying to store this is a text, is expecting a text, but what I'm giving here is an integer dot price. Okay, to how do I convert this? Just say put toString. That's it. Same thing applies for the next one. Txt qty quantity dot text is equal to same product object, product dot qty, which is quantity. Yes, dot toString. Why am I converting to string? Because I want to put them or display them on a text box. So I have to convert them to string before putting it on a text box. That's it. So let me check whether this works. Then we'll proceed. I have only one record, guys. So I think I need to add more, but you can try that. Okay. So let me just try with one record. Okay, so my drop down list is ready with the data. I've already enabled auto postback. So the moment I choose that, okay, it goes to the server, gives that ID to the system. The ID is taken of that pen of that particular product here. And with that product, I got every record of that particular information of that particular product, and I displayed all that information here. Okay, so everything is ready. And all I need to do right now is click on update. When you click on update, I would like to change all this record of that particular product and then put it in the database. So how do I do that? Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is let me stop the project from running. Let me run. Okay, so let me just put the next one. Third part of this particular product, I will be updating it. So let me just double click on this button and let it take me to btn update underscore click. Okay, so with this in mind, let me just write the code. Please note I already have the ID globally available. Whichever product you have chosen, that particular product's ID is already available in this particular part because it's globally created and locally assigned. So by the time you click on update, this would be already initialized and data will already be there. So how do I update? Okay, in order to update, all I need to do is remember that formula again. Okay, I want to update a row in the table. Okay, if you want to update a row in the table, what am I supposed to do here in ORMs or object relational mapping technologies? I'm supposed to update an object, an instance of a class. Look at this code. What does this code signify? It signifies an instance, one instance of a class which this particular product ID returns. Okay, so this is the same code, guys. All right, so I'm going to take a copy of that. Let me write it, or let me just type it once again. So as soon as you click on this particular button, okay, what do you want me to do? I want you to open an object, product DB entities. DB is equal to new product DB entities. Okay, inside this, what am I supposed to do? Okay, so first I need to find out that object, then only I can update it, right? So I'm going to write the code once again. TBL product is equal to from data in DB dot TBL products, where data dot prod underscore ID is equal to whatever the user has chosen globally, right? Select data. Okay, that will throw an error because it's expecting one specific object. So how do I fix that? Just choose that entire query and then say dot first. Done. Okay, and followed by which, what am I supposed to do? It's very simple now. You already have all the records of already is currently existing object you have taken. All I need to do is modify that current object and then I'm done. So how do I do that? Product, that is the object, dot, okay, let's change product name, whatever the user has written in the text box. What text box? Txt pname dot text. Okay, next one, product dot price, or let's say quantity, is equal to txt quantity dot text, which is going to have a problem because you're trying to attach or store a string because it's coming from a text box into a number. So I'm going to just fix it by just putting in dot parse. Okay, next, product dot price is equal to int dot parse, since I already know it, txt price dot text. All right, so now I've modified the values which are there in that current object. Okay, I hope you guys follow, right? So basically what I've done is I've modified this object's data attributes, okay, in this context of DB. Okay, so all I need to do here is save changes. Whatever changes you have done, save it. Okay, there is no need to update or anything to be added to this particular thing. That's it. Okay, that's the code for updating. Please note, I have not written any query. I have not written any SQL query to write this. Rather, it is just pure programming which I need to know, and my work is done. Okay, this is entity framework. Okay, and what is the difference? I mean, if it looks same, if both entity framework as well as link looks the same to you, just remember that performance wise entity framework is far better, superior. Also, number of data sources are allowed. Link normally supports only Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, I'll stop here, guys. Just look at this code. If you have any questions, please do ask. Otherwise, I'll run the project in a minute. Once the program is done, please do make sure that I have not put any redirection or update any information I have not given. Okay, it's always preferable to put the entire code inside a try catch, and in the try block, last line of code, take them to the success page. In the catch block, first line of code, put them the error page. Okay, so let me just choose that. Let me change it to pencil, and let me change the quantity to 100 and price, let's say 3, and click on update. Okay, I don't know whether it, because I've not given any information there, so let me just change. Let me take you to display and check if it has been changed. Yes, data has been updated. Okay, so it's as simple as just writing some C# code to do all manipulation of data without even learning one line of SQL here. Okay, please remember that. So let me just stop it here. You can also take the user. Okay, so for example, once you have inserted, okay, here let me show it in the update itself. You can write the entire code like this. Okay, I can put try catch and put the entire code of using that inside try, and inside the catch block you can throw the exception, or you can also put a message, or you can handle it however you want. Here after this using block is done, okay, in case there is any problem in this using block, okay, it will not come to this line where the cursor is blinking right now. So I can easily write response.write inserted successfully or updated successfully, something like that. Or you can put a JavaScript alert or a sweet alert, whatever you want. But what if I want to take you to the next page? Just redirect him to display dot ASPX. Okay, that's it. And what about in the catch block? Okay, you can just write response dot write. Okay, you can write the message, or you can put a like say general one saying that something went wrong, something like that you can write. Okay, or you can write a sweet alert which says please try again later. Okay, it's your wish how you want to give it. All right, so I'll leave it up to you guys. So here also you can write alert. Okay, how do you write an alert in JavaScript? You can write just write the JavaScript code here, less than alert. Okay, so you can write script and then you put method. Like let me just show you. Okay, they'll not be coming because I don't have any errors right now. Okay, you can write script. Please note what I've written, and also I can write slash script. Okay, this is written into your browser. Okay, so I can say something went wrong. Like this I can write. Okay, since I don't have any errors right now, let me just put it here and say updated successfully. Please note this is script. It will be inserted or written to your response programmatically, which means when you run the program for the first time, this script will not be there in your program. Okay, but the moment you finish, or when you click on submit and there's no error here, this response will be written back. Okay, please note I've not put alert. That's the JavaScript code, not just writing script. Okay, alert. Don't forget that. And inside alert, single quote. This is where your JavaScript code comes into picture. Okay, that's enough. Please note what I've written. If your code is successful, updation is working properly, then I want this script to happen. Okay, I'll put that same thing in insert also. So as soon as you've come out, but how do I make sure that it will not get unnecessarily executed? Put a try catch. Okay, so let me put this entire using code inside the try. And in the catch block, you can write that something went wrong, all those things. Okay, so let me just take this code and I'll put it here. Let me insert one new record and show you how this script works. Okay, this script will trigger a JavaScript alert from your browser. Okay, so let me just run insert.aspx. Let's check if this works. In catch, I have not put anything. Okay, my program will not stop. Even if there is a mistake, my program will not stop. We'll just throw a blank message and be there still. Okay, if at all right now my program works. So when I insert something, let's say for example, let me insert a new record pen. Let's say 150 pens, each carrying 5 more. Okay, I'll just add product. You see this message here, an alert message comes. I think I did not change that word from, okay, I didn't put inserted, I put updated successfully. Okay, so I'm getting that, please note, unless you click on OK, it does not continue to the next line of code, which is nothing. There's no line of code there. When I click on OK, it just stays in the same page. Now you can also make it to go to the next page. It's your wish. Okay, how you want it. So you can increase, like now imagine what if I had a sweet alert. Some people have worked with jQuery and sweet alert and stuff. Okay, all you need to do is write a function. Write a function in your JavaScript which will call the sweet alert appropriately. Then call that function name inside the script. Okay, whatever function name you have created, call that function here. That's it. It will call the jQuery or JavaScript function what you have written, because it has to be engulfed inside script. This is how you write an alert using ASP.NET. Okay, I hope by now everything is clear. Okay, if you have any questions, please do ask, guys. With this, I'll stop for today.